What happened to Jungkook? Why did his mother cry so suddenly? And why was Taehyung seen in tears outside the hospital? Could this be the moment that changes BTS forever? Stay until the end, like, comment, and subscribe if you believe Jungkook deserves peace, strength, and healing. The night began like any other, quiet, calm, and ordinary. But within hours, everything that seemed peaceful would shatter into chaos. The world of ARMY was about to face a shock unlike any other. And the name on everyone's lips was Jungkook. What happened to him? Why was Taehyung seen rushing into a Seoul hospital in the middle of the night, his face pale and tense? And what exactly made Jungkook's mother break down in uncontrollable tears, her cries echoing through the hospital hallway? No one knew at first. There was confusion, panic, and whispers that spread faster than wildfire. Is Jungkook okay? Fans asked across every social platform, their hearts racing as videos surfaced showing an ambulance arriving quietly at dawn. The back door opened and a stretcher appeared. Someone was being rushed in, hidden beneath layers of blankets, surrounded by security guards. The figure was covered, but fans claimed they recognized that familiar tattooed hand. Could it really be Jungkook? The rumors exploded in seconds. Taehyung was there too, one fan tweeted. He looked terrified. Another wrote, I saw Jungkook's mother crying. Something bad happened. No one wanted to believe it. BTS had always been a symbol of strength, light, and energy. But that morning, something felt different, like the air itself carried fear. Inside the hospital, lights flickered. Nurses whispered as doctors rushed past them. A sense of urgency filled the air. Jungkook's condition was unknown, but the fact that HYB's senior management had arrived in less than 30 minutes said enough. Something serious had happened. Taehyung was seen pacing outside the intensive care unit, his hands trembling as he tried to call someone. His voice cracked as he muttered. He was fine yesterday, he was laughing, singing. But now his tone was hollow, full of disbelief and guilt. What had gone so wrong overnight? When Jungkook's mother arrived, everything broke. She didn't speak. She just ran, past the guards, past the cameras, straight toward the ICU doors. The nurses tried to calm her, but she fell to her knees, crying, her voice filled with heartbreak. Please, my son, please wake up. Even the staff couldn't hold back their tears. It wasn't just another celebrity incident. This was Jungkook, the golden magne, the pride of BTS, the one who had always smiled no matter how heavy the burden was. The world had watched him grow from a shy teenager to a global superstar. And now, the same world watched helplessly as rumors of his collapse began to flood every corner of the internet. Was it exhaustion? Stress? Overwork? Or something deeper that no one saw coming? Taehyung refused to leave the hospital. He sat in silence, wearing a black hoodie, his eyes red and swollen. At one point, a camera caught him whispering, I should have noticed. I should have known something was wrong. That one sentence broke the hearts of millions of ARMYs watching the clip on loop. Within hours, the hashtags #PrayForJungkook and #StayStrongTaehyung trended globally. Fans across the world began lighting candles, posting messages, and creating videos praying for his recovery. He's always been our comfort, one fan wrote. Now it's our turn to be his. But no official statement came. HYB remained silent. The hospital refused to comment. Every minute of silence only added to the tension. People began speculating. Some said Jungkook fainted during rehearsal, others whispered he had collapsed from exhaustion, and a few feared something far more serious. Meanwhile, Taehyung's silence was louder than any rumor. Every time the ICU doors opened, his head snapped up, hoping for news, but the doctors' faces remained grim. A few close staff members said Taehyung hadn't eaten, hadn't slept, and refused to go home. He blames himself, one said quietly. He feels he should have seen it coming. At around 4 a.m., the first glimmer of truth began to emerge. A nurse, speaking anonymously, said Jungkook had been found unconscious in his apartment earlier that evening. His phone lay beside him, the screen cracked, and music was still playing through his speakers, one of his unreleased demos, hauntingly slow, echoing through the empty room. No signs of injury, no evidence of foul play, just silence as if time itself had stopped. Who found him? Sources close to the situation revealed it was Taehyung himself. He had gone to visit Jungkook after noticing he hadn't responded to messages all day. When Jungkook didn't answer the door, Taehyung used the spare key, and that's when everything changed. Inside, the air felt heavy. Jungkook was lying on the floor near the couch, his face pale, breathing shallow. The moment Taehyung realized what was happening, panic took over. He called emergency services immediately, his voice trembling, repeating, "Please hurry. Please save him." Those words, now recounted by the emergency operator, sent chills through fans everywhere. The ambulance arrived within minutes. Taehyung stayed by Jungkook's side the entire time, holding his hand, whispering, "It's okay, you're gonna be fine." But as they reached the hospital, his voice began to break. It wasn't just fear, it was heartbreak, by morning. The entire country of South Korea was awake, waiting. News outlets camped outside the hospital, reporters whispered in low tones, and fans gathered silently holding purple banners. The atmosphere felt sacred, heavy with worry but also with love. Armies didn't sing this time. They prayed. And somewhere inside that cold, white hospital room, Jungkook lay still, surrounded by the people who loved him most. Machines beeped steadily beside him, marking every second that felt like an eternity. Taehyung sat in the corner, his head down. The doctors had told him to rest, but he couldn't. He couldn't stop replaying that moment in his head. The sound of Jungkook's breathing fading, the panic in his own voice, the sight of Jungkook's mother crying in the hallway. It felt unreal, like a nightmare he couldn't wake from. Hours passed, but there was no update. Fans begged for answers. "Please HYB, tell us he's okay." One army comment read, reaching millions of likes within minutes. But HYB's only response was short. "We ask for understanding and privacy regarding Jungkook's condition. Updates will be shared when appropriate." That single line both comforted and terrified fans. Privacy meant something serious. If it were just fatigue, they would have said so. The silence meant something deeper. The world waited. And then something strange happened. Late that afternoon, Taehyung stepped out of the hospital for a brief moment. He didn't speak to anyone, but he looked up at the sky, took a deep breath, and whispered something under his breath. Something the cameras couldn't catch. But fans who zoomed in claimed they saw his lips form two words. "I'm sorry." Sorry for what? What did Taehyung mean? Was he blaming himself for something that wasn't his fault? The speculation grew wilder by the hour, but those two words echoed across the fandom like thunder. By evening, the hospital's lights dimmed, and security grew tighter. Jungkook's family had been allowed inside his room. Taehyung followed quietly behind, standing near the door as Jungkook's mother held her son's hand, tears streaming down her face. "You're strong," she whispered. "You've always been strong, please wake up." The sight was too much for anyone to bear. Even the staff turned away, wiping their eyes. What really happened that night? What caused Jungkook to collapse so suddenly? Was it stress from his ongoing solo work? Hidden exhaustion from his schedule? Or something more personal, something no one had seen coming? Fans noticed that days before this incident, Jungkook had posted a series of cryptic messages on Weverse. "Sometimes I smile even when I'm tired," one read. Another said, "Don't worry about me, I'm okay really." At the time, fans thought he was just being humble. But now those words felt heavier. Were they a cry for help? Taehyung reportedly read those posts over and over in the hospital, his fingers trembling as he scrolled through Jungkook's feed. "He was telling us," he whispered. "He was trying to tell us." Outside, the media continued to wait. Cameras flashed, reporters shouted questions, but no one from HYB came out. The silence spoke louder than